I'm sitting half on the northern hemisphere, half on the southern, right on the equator, in the middle of the country named after it, Ecuador. Ecuador is the smallest of the Andean countries, which stretch along the western coast of South America. Despite its small size, Ecuador has one of the world's most varied landscapes and climates. The Andes form the mountainous backbone of the country, and a third is jungle. Almost half of its 10 million people are Indians. I'm traveling from the coast up through the Andes to the capital Quito and then north. From there it's into the Amazon jungle. I end my journey in the famed Galapagos Islands. Guayaquil is a hot and humid port and Ecuador's largest city. It's where you catch the early morning train up into the Andes, a 9-hour ride that takes you from sea level to almost 10,000 feet. The ticket is cheap, about $1.50.
3,000, señorita.
Gracias. Built in 1908, this track is an umbilical cord between the sea and the mountains. People use the train like a mobile shop, bringing their produce from the coast to sell in the towns and villages along the track. This train is riding on the roof. This is more like it. Gracias. That looks good. Rice, banana, egg, tomato, pasta. It costs 50 cents. And I'm hungry because I got up at 5:30 this morning. Muchas gracias. Thank you. Thank you. You speak English. Yeah? Later, this is a Laosi. I'm gonna go get my bags and then I'm off to Baños. Ecuador's Indians prefer to be called indigenous people. The majority are Quechua-speaking descendants of the Inca. They're peasant farmers and most live in abject poverty. Today in Laosi, they're on strike. Aggrieved by recent land reforms and rising food and gas prices, they're protesting in the towns and blocking roads all over the country. I don't think I belong here. I think I'm going to get out of here, if I can. I don't think there are any buses leaving, though. Blocking the road is a common form of protest here, but with the army brought in to clear the highways, we finally managed to get through. Baños is popular with travelers from both Ecuador and abroad, although surprisingly the atmosphere is unspoiled. Inside the basilica in the main square, there's a supposedly miraculous virgin. People flock here to be cured of ailments by the holy waters or simply to pray in hope.
Hola. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, gracias. ¿Tienen una habitación?
Sí, tenemos dobles y simples.
Simple, single.
Una simple?
Sí.
$6 por persona.
$6.
So this is your room.
Oh, thanks. Wow. Look at that waterfall.
Virgin waterfall.
The Virgin, the Virgin. Beautiful.
You like it?
Take it. Baños means baths in Spanish, hence the main attraction. The hot water flows from the belly of a nearby volcano. The sludge green color and the odor is natural. The water is changed every day. This water comes directly from the Tungurahua volcano, and it's very hot, but I think it's very good for you because it's full of sulfur. Ecuador's highlands are dominated by its volcanoes, and many are still active. The baths can get very crowded, so it's best to avoid weekends, especially if you want to relax and swap stories with fellow travelers.
The thing I'll most remember from Ecuador is how friendly the people are. If you can speak a little Spanish, they want to get to know you. They're very friendly, they're very helpful, and they're very interested. I don't think they resent tourists the way some other parts of the world resent Western tourists.
Mi cara asoma tu cara.
Baños is also famous for its handmade toffee.
¿Puedo? ¿Poco? Sí, aquí. ¿Puedo? Gracias. Oh. It's good, it's sweet. It doesn't taste like it has any of the paint on it. Serious work.
Ya le di la plata.
This is a great book at the Capicultura where travelers have written tips about places to go and places not to go. Like, this is a good one. Manta on the coast is a place to avoid, very dangerous. We were robbed Sunday on a crowded beach by men with knives. Don't want to go there. This is worth it. The best waterfall around in Baños and possibly in Ecuador is the Rio Verde. That's where I'm going.
The outdoors are one of the main reasons travelers come to Ecuador, and the terrain around Baños is ideal for biking, climbing, and hiking.
This river is the Pastaza River.
Pastaza River.
Pastaza River.
And where is it going?
It's going to Napo.
The Napo in the Amazon.
The Amazon.
Roadside stalls can be a good place to find quick sustenance.
Hola,
¿Qué tal?
¿cómo está?
Bien, gracias. Una jugo de caña.
¿Jugo de caña?
Sí.
Ya.
I'm asking for a sugarcane juice. ¿Cuánto cuesta?
500.
500 sucres.
Delicioso esto.
Sí.
Les gusta mucho a algunas personas.
Sí, it's delicious. Rico.
Rico, ya.
Rico. mucho azúcar.
Ya.
Lots of sugar.
Sí, bastante.
¿Tú
Es bien
to-
dulce.
Sí, ¿tú tomas mucho?
Sí.
¿Cuántos?
Cuando estoy cansado, vengo
when you're
haciendo
tired.
ejercicio.
Yeah.
Ya. Rico.
Wow. Rico y dulce. Very, very
Sí,
sweet.
tiene bastante azúcar.
Energy.
The most famous of Ecuador's volcanoes is Cotopaxi, halfway between Baños and the capital, Quito. To get there, you travel along a leg of the Pan American Highway known appropriately enough as the Avenue of the Volcanoes. At nearly 19,000 feet above sea level, Cotopaxi is the highest active volcano on Earth. The Jose Ribas Refuge costs only $10 a night and provides mattresses and kitchen facilities.
Thanks. This is the refuge. It's about a 45-minute to an hour walk from the parking lot. And Ivan has gone in to make some dinner. It's about 6 o'clock right now. We're gonna go to sleep pretty soon and wake up at 2, and then we start our climb.
It takes about 8 hours to climb from the refuge to the summit. You have to start the climb in the dark in order to avoid the late afternoon melting snows. You need an experienced guide, crampons on your boots to grip the ice, an ice pick, and lots of stamina. Scaling Ecuador's giant cone volcanoes has attracted and challenged mountaineers from all over the world.
We're gonna climb to the top, yeah?
Yes.
What's the altitude here?
5,000.
5,000 meters.
Exactly.
This is the
Wait a
highest
minute.
I've ever been in my life.
Very good for you.
How many times have you been to the top?
62 times. This could be my 63.
At 18,000 feet, we stop just short of the summit. The oxygen is so thin that altitude sickness is a very real danger. To reduce the risks, it's best to acclimatize before going up. The basic symptoms of altitude sickness are nausea, headache, fatigue, and the only remedy is to come down quickly.
I've had some experience with altitude sickness here. I don't think I gave myself enough time to acclimate. And you did too, trying to climb Imbabura.
When we went on Imbabura, I crapped out on Imbabura because I got kind of sick on the way up and actually passed out for a little while, took a little nap. So that's one of the reasons we didn't think that we could climb Cotopaxi at this time.
From the base of Cotopaxi, you can catch a bus north along the Avenue of the Volcanoes to Quito. In Ecuador, buses stop anywhere to pick up passengers, which makes it very easy to get around. At almost 10,000 feet above sea level, Quito is the second highest capital in the world after La Paz in Bolivia. Much of the 450-year-old Old Town is beautifully preserved, and in 1978, UNESCO declared it one of the world's cultural heritage sites. One sound you'll hear all over the country is the charango.
Es muy útil para hacer música latinoamericana,
That's Latin
música
American.
folclórica, del folclor de las tierras natales de cada persona.
The charango is a folkloric music from the Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, from
Chile.
Chile, sí.
Sí.
Traditionally, charangos are made from armadillo shells. The animals are often killed for their shells, though most charangos are now made out of wood.
A charango for a beginner like myself is about 200,000 sucres, which is about $100. See? Ah. This.
From Quito, you can get to most places in less than a day. Generally, Ecuador is safer than other parts of Latin America, but Quito's main bus station is notorious for its pickpockets. But if you can hold on to your dollars, they can go a long way. A bus trip 3 hours north to Otavalo, Ecuador's main market town, costs only $2. Otavalo is one of Ecuador's top tourist attractions. By the time the Saturday market arrives, the rooms are booked, so if you want to stay the weekend, get there by Friday. Otavalo is a good base from which to explore the Indian villages and countryside. The town itself sits at the foot of the Imbabura volcano. The early morning animal market dates back to pre-Inca times, when jungle products were brought up from the Amazon and traded for highland goods.
As of this moment, I promise I am a vegetarian.
One of the most ancient delicacies of Andean cuisine is guinea pig. To get the texture just right, the guinea pig has to be killed and immediately quick fried in different oils at precise temperatures.
Esta es la última temperatura.
Most families keep them in pens in the corner of their kitchen, a tradition which dates back at least 15 centuries. In colonial times, Indian artisans in some churches enthusiastically painted Christ tucking into guinea pig at the Last Supper.
What you have here is cuy, which is guinea pig, which is what they eat in Ecuador on special occasions. And I've come here because I thought I should try the traditional food. Well, it's fried and hard, and you can see the little hands and the little head. I'm going to imagine what this tastes like. Who wants my cuy? Yeah?
Carlos.
Carlos? Yeah? Carlos.
Para todos, para la cabeza. Arranque. Acá está.
Gloria confessed her weakness. Her favorite part of the guinea pig is the head.
Rico. It's
Muy rico.
delicious. Yes?
Excellent. Gracias.
Yes, mother in Ecuador.
In the villages around Otavalo, the Otavalinos make a living from the sale of their hand-woven cloths. They sold first to the Spanish, then to the Ecuadorian landowners, and now to tourists. While the women prepare the yarn, tradition has it that only the men weave. The Ndrango family are among the best weavers in the region and still use the backstrap loom method developed nearly 4,000 years ago. The popularity of their work has made the Otavalinos one of the wealthiest indigenous groups in Ecuador. Although a rug like this, which takes a month to make, still costs only around $70. Nowadays, most of the crafts end up in the Saturday market. Each village specializes in a particular craft. There's a lot to choose from, although woven and woolen products like ponchos remain the most popular.
What are you doing in Ecuador?
Studying Spanish.
Yeah?
Teaching English. Telling the good news of the gospel.
¿Y cuánto cuesta?
32,000.
Okay, bueno, 35. Okay? Sí.
It's expected of you to bargain, and if you do it well, you can usually bring the price down by about 30%.
It looks like I'm wearing a blanket. It's a bit big.
Es sombrero Panamá. Se lo llama Panamá, pero es hecho en Ecuador.
Ah, okay.
Es Montecristi, ¿no?
Ah, okay. These are Panama hats, but actually Panama hats are made in Ecuador. Es verdad.
Sí.
And they're very good for traveling because you can fold it. Do you want to do this?
Yes.
Fold it up?
Se lo puede doblar, mire, se lo hace así.
Yeah.
¿Sí?
You can just
en las cajitas.
yes, you can just roll it up and put it in a little box. They're great for traveling with. ¿Sí?
Para el viaje.
Gracias. Y 50,000.
50,000.
Y 40,000.
45 le tengo.
45.
Ajá.
Okay, tough bargain here. We just went from 50 to 45.
The north is popular hiking country, even though the weather can change quickly. It's said that in Ecuador, you can experience all 4 seasons in just one day. The roads are easily avoided by following ancient trails made and still used by the Indians. The annual festival of San Juan. Like so many other celebrations in Latin America, it has merged the beliefs of Catholicism and those of the indigenous people. This celebration is a mixture of the Catholic festival of St. John the Baptist and an ancient pre-Inca harvest ritual.
The little boy and the little girl that is sitting on the horse, he or she, they recite a passage from the Bible that has to do with the story of St. John the Baptist. It takes them a long time, 6 months or a whole year to memorize this. After the reciting, they receive money and they throw a hen to the owner of the farm. And the hen there's some history behind, because through the whole year, the whole group, they receive loans from the farm, and the way they pay back is by like a symbolic way. They throw the chicken.
And what are they doing when they're all dancing in a circle?
Well, it's just a way of celebrating. As you can see, they all dance and they have like the same, it's like a little trot.
Yeah.
That's a typical trot of San Juan. You will see everybody dancing.
What's the trot? How does the trot go?
It's just, you just go like, because these people have been dancing for the past 3 nights and 3 days, the whole day.
In a nearby town, I came across this paddleball game called tabla. It was introduced by the Spanish about 450 years ago. Men play every day, and the rules are fairly similar to group tennis. They use large spiked paddles, which look something like medieval torture implements, to hit the ball. It looked easy. One third of Ecuador is Amazon jungle. I knew I wanted to go there, but where? With so many trips and guides and tribes to choose from, I needed some advice.
That one.
In Quito, the South American Explorers Club serves as a rendezvous for travelers. You can also buy books and maps, leave messages, collect your mail, but most importantly, pick up valuable tips.
Because it's into night here, so it's a celebration of the sun. And
It's got both names, so.
Okay. What is it? A brown envelope? A white envelope?
White envelope.
The discovery of oil in the Amazon has disrupted the lives of the indigenous inhabitants, and one way of offering support is to take a tour owned and operated by one of the tribes. Believe it or not, this is a commercial flight. An army plane is an unusual way to travel, but it's what Ecuador's internal airline uses for trips into the jungle. And $30 for a 30-minute flight is not a bad alternative to an all-day bus ride. From the landing strip in the oil town of Lago Agrio, it's a 4-hour boat trip down the river Agua Rico to the Sequoia community. In the Amazon, you can stay in relatively luxurious but pricey lodges, or a simple shelter like this one. If on a limited budget, you'll be needing a sleeping bag, mosquito net, and good wet weather gear. The guides supply the rubber boots. Missionaries tried to discourage traditional practices among the tribal groups, but the Sequoia, like others, still rely on the rainforest to maintain their way of life. Emilio was preparing a drink from the yoko vine. 1 cup supposedly gives enough energy to go without sleep all night, food all day, and to walk for miles through the jungle. Now I can go hunting.
Muy fuerte.
Sí. Carlos, our guide, followed Sequoia tradition by painting his face. This ensures good luck and wards off the evil spirits that lurk in the jungle. Countless medicinal uses of plants are known only to the inhabitants of the rainforest. What's this for?
When you cut your arm or
when you have a cut,
when you put on it and it stops the blood.
It stops the bleeding. Oh. And then the pulp is like a bandage. So first the juice, and then first juice, and then the pulp. Yeah, like that. What's the name of this tree? Nombre.
No, ¿qué se llama mit? Se llama Mia.
Mia. It's a Mia in Sequoia.
Sí,
Mia.
Mia.
Mia. Gracias. Every plant and every leaf seemed to have a use. This is how you make your roof. Seven-hour fever if that bites you. God.
traveler's tip. I don't think you can bring enough mosquito repellent with you. Just make sure it has lots of DEET in it, because that's the stuff that kills the mosquitoes. Oh dear, I wish he'd stop hacking at things. Oh, look at that. It's a very sensual jungle experience.
There are fewer than 500 sequoia left, and like so many other tribes in South America, they are facing extinction. These self-run eco-tourist ventures, which provide insight into the ways and mysteries of the forest for a fee, are being offered by more and more tribes as a means of survival. Included in the tour, another jungle potion. Chicha is a social drink made from yucca, a root vegetable, and liquefied with human spittle. Cesario is the last surviving shaman of the Sequoia tribe. He's preparing a hallucinogenic potion called ayahuasca. It's used primarily during a boy's initiation into manhood. Both the shaman and the boy drink the ayahuasca, and in this altered state, the shaman can locate the animal spirit that will guide the boy the rest of his life. Cesario's only son is an evangelist, so Cesario's traditions and knowledge will die with him. That night, Cesario invited us to an ayahuasca ceremony. These powerful natural potions are administered by the shaman to guide participants into a deeper spiritual level. Gracias. Tastes like very bitter tea. Cesario gave us very little, and I relaxed easily to the comfort of his chanting. The final leg of my journey, 600 miles due west of Quito along the equator to the Galapagos Islands. They're one of the world's great wonders, a chain of volcanic islands almost certainly never connected to any mainland, where wildlife developed distinctly from all other species on Earth, leading Darwin to form his theory of evolution. To visit the islands, you can take day trips or charter a boat.
I've been told that the best thing to do when you go to Galapagos, and the cheapest way, is just to go on the island and then look for a boat. I was calculating and using up to a week finding a boat. When I had walked out of the bus in Puerto Ayora, Gabriel came up and asked if we needed a boat. He had 3 spaces left. Yeah, I said, I'd like to see the boat though. And I went to see the boat and I was sold.
Some of the islands are a whole night sail between them, so if you want to be able to see the wildlife on the more distant islands, it's a good idea to charter a boat for at least a week. There are over 40 islands and islets, and this trip would take in a visit to the 6 islands that contain the most abundant species.
Ugh, I had a horrible night's sleep. It was my first morning, and as you can see, I don't have my legs yet. They say it takes, you know, the first or second day to get over this, and then I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
First stop, the tiny island of South Plaza to see the sea lions. The #1 rule is you're not allowed to touch the animals, but if they choose to, they can touch you.
This part of the island, we call it the bachelor part.
The bachelor part?
Yeah. Here it is, we only find males, and they come here after they've been defeated. They lost the fight of the harem. So they come to this area where there's no territories, and they can, you know, rest, get fed again, and then they will try again to take back the harem.
Any way you cut it, visiting the Galapagos is a luxury. Just flying here from Quito costs over $500, and each day on board a boat like this costs between $50 and $100. More than half the species in the Galapagos are endemic, which means that they breed nowhere else on Earth. And if you want to see the waved albatross, Española Island is just about the only place you'll find them. The albatross can spend years at sea without touching land. Graceful flyers, they can take up to 20 attempts to land, which is rarely an elegant spectacle. Albatrosses engage in a perfectly choreographed courtship ritual that can last up to 20 minutes. Post Office Bay on Floriana Island has a barrel where whalers used to leave mail. Any ship going where the mail was addressed would deliver it. It's still used, though the barrel has been replaced.
The tradition right now is that you take these postcards and see if there's anything that, you know, from your home, and you can deliver it by hand. This one from U.S. Berkeley.
Ah, that's where I live! I can't believe it. This is where... Great! What do I do with these two?
Okay, this postcard we put back in the bag with the rest of it, and then we put it back in the barrel, and somebody will come over and take it out and deliver it by hand.
Great.
About 60,000 tourists come to the Galapagos each year. This well-meaning group tried to reverse Darwin's theory of the survival of the fittest, and much to their dismay, this recently hatched turtle made a very tasty snack for one frigate bird. But most species here have no natural predators. They die of old age, and their corpses slowly disintegrate.
Women pay a fortune for this in Europe. Organic mud bath.
Flamingos are pink because all they eat is pink shrimp larvae. The Sally Lightfoot crab is one of more than 50 endemic species. On North Sea Moor is a large colony of frigate birds. Males have a bright red flap of skin to attract females, which take 20 minutes to inflate. If the Galapagos had a mascot, it would be the blue-footed booby. The Galapagos became a national park in 1959, and the rules are strict. Although you can observe the animals close up, you cannot step off the well-marked paths, and you must have a guide. The number of tour boats is also restricted. Tonight's dinner would be grilled tuna, but first, a raw snack.
Wasabi, ginger, soy sauce, sashimi.
The captain of our boat, Franklin, had a relaxed philosophy on visiting the islands.
It's part of everything, really. It's not just seeing the little turtle and iguana, you know, just basically coming out here and having a little of everything, you know. Like snorkeling and playing around and partying on the boat, you know, listening to good music and just having a good time, you know.
Having evolved without predators, the creatures of the Galapagos fear no man. Try to imagine that, or save up and make the Galapagos your next trip. Oh, and one final traveler's tip. The sea lions are the friendliest.
When I first got on the boat and I was feeling horrible, the captain said to me, "You know, when people leave this boat, they are crying sometimes." And I thought, that's not going to be me. I just want to get off the boat now. I feel sick. But today's my last day, and I think I might shed a tear or two.